Julius Malema is guilty. But will he go to prison? Here's the answer. Alright, so this morning we received some pretty massive news regarding Julius Malema's firearms case. Magistrate Toinette Olivier found him guilty on all 4 of the charges that were brought before the court. Still, although he has been found guilty, his actual sentencing has been delayed to the 23rd of January 2026 for pre-sentencing hearings. However, the question on many people's minds is probably whether or not he'll go to prison and what will happen to his political career. Now, we don't actually have to wait until January in order to find out. Alright, so to understand what is in store for Malema, let's take a look at each of the charges, starting with the most serious one, which is the unlawful possession of a firearm. So if we take a look at South African Legal Information Institute's website, we see that according to the Criminal Law Amendment Act, there is a minimum sentence of 15 years imprisonment for somebody who's found guilty of this charge. And in actual fact, this can even be raised to 25 years imprisonment, although that is generally for a second or third offender, and Malema in this regard is a first offender, so it probably won't apply. Still, in the court of law, Malema was charged with violating the Firearms Control Act, which came along later. And what this act dictates is that a sentence not exceeding 15 years in prison may be applied. So there is a little bit of a conflict between these 2 pieces of legislation, and we'll just have to see what direction the judge takes. But either way, a prison sentence of around 15 years is definitely on the table. Now, what's really interesting is that this took place in a magistrate's court, right? And if we take a look here, it explains that ordinary magistrates' courts, whose general sentencing jurisdiction is limited to 3 years imprisonment, are given enhanced penal jurisdiction that are empowered to impose the sentences provided for in the FCA. Now, this actually shows just how serious this charge is, because even though the magistrate wouldn't normally have the power to impose a 15-year sentence, she can in this case. Next up, we need to take a look at the unlawful possession of ammunition. So, according to this exact same source, this charge can actually carry a sentence of up to 10 years imprisonment. So again, we're just going to have to see what the judge ends up determining. The other 2 charges are a little bit less severe. So we have discharging a firearm in a built-up area. This charge can carry up to 5 years imprisonment or a monetary fine. Finally, we have the most vague of the charges, which is reckless endangerment of people or property, and this can result in either imprisonment or a fine. Nevertheless, the 2 most important charges to keep an eye on are the 2 that I mentioned first, because these are going to carry the harshest sentences. So now that we've got the prison sentence possibility out of the way, let's discuss what may actually happen to Malema's political career. So if we take a look at the South African Constitution, in section 47(1), we see that every citizen who is qualified to vote for the National Assembly is eligible to be a member of the Assembly except, and here in paragraph E we see, anyone after the section took effect is convicted of an offence or sentenced to more than 12 months imprisonment without the option of a fine either in the Republic or outside of the Republic. And so no matter what the extent of Malema's prison sentence is, so long as it is above 12 months, he's going to be barred from serving in the National Assembly. And this means that even if the EFF were to win an election, which is highly unlikely, he'll never be able to become president of the country. So while Malema's exact punishment is unclear to us, one thing is certain. Until January next year, he certainly isn't going to be enjoying a comfortable sleep. Thanks very much for tuning into this episode. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel, clicking on the subscribe button in the bottom left corner of the video. Until next time, I'm Matthew Cohen, and this is the Power Pod.